Hi guys, it's TechBoy here with another video. This video is talking about the review scoring system. So if I end up doing a review on a certain product, whether it be hardware or software, this video has been made almost as a reference guide as to how I intend on going about reviewing certain pieces of hardware and software. So rather than talking about it, let's just get straight into it. The first area of games I could potentially be doing reviews on is computer and video games. Now, how I go about doing this is areas of assessment. So there will be 4 areas that I would be picking out of the following list. It could be on the story, so whether it's in depth or not. There's games like Mario which aren't really in depth. It's just as simple as Peach gets kidnapped and then you got to rescue her or stuff like that. But then there's other games out there that have far more complex stories to it, such as Zelda, and that's just another example. But if it has a story in it, then there's almost an essential reason to review that. And if it even has a story in it, it will be worth reviewing that as a main key aspect to a computer or video game. The gameplay itself, I'd be looking at the pick up and play factor to do with like the easy learning curve and all that, and the complexity of ways users can input instructions. For example, in a Mario game it's just simple jump, move, ground pound, all that. But in Super Smash Bros. There's like multiple combinations of buttons you can press at the same time to get different moves and stuff like that. Visuals, based on the sharpness and the lightning, colour, they're just a few areas of the visual side of it I would look at. Also, I would give it credit based on when the game was released, which is why I put an image from Donkey Kong 64 on the screen, because the visuals for that game were really good considering the time of when the game was released. But if you compare that to all the games these days, it wouldn't stand out at all. The value for its recommended retail price. So when the game first comes out, there's always a value that people have to pay to be able to get the game, of course, which is the recommended retail price, not when it's on special or anything. But the higher the score I give it for that, the more it is worth the recommended retail price. And obviously, if it doesn't get a full score or almost a full score, then I am almost saying that as an incentive to wait until it comes down in price, or get it second hand, or seek another alternative. The level design, in terms of the general game flow, able to understand how the game progresses, and music for their originality, execution, the background music, and even the sound effects, and how they all work together with each other, so you can distinguish what sounds are from what. So that would be how I review a video and computer game. The next area I was wanting to talk about was software. So there's also 4 areas I'm going to talk about. You'll see why I'm talking about 4 areas later on in the video. The user interface, whether it is well designed, pick up and play, is there a learning curve to it, and if there's a software update in the sense of iTunes going from 10.3, I think it is from memory, going straight to 11, there was quite a different overhaul in the user interface, not just in the iTunes store itself, but also across the whole entire interface itself, and whether that was easy to learn or not, and whether it was for better or worse. The productivity scale, based on easy operations to achieve what the users want. Is it an all-in-one piece of software, or does it need to interact with other pieces of software? For example, with Microsoft Word, you could make an Excel table in it, but people may find it easier to make it in Excel and then copy that across to Word. And I am known for doing that as well. And there's little things like that. If it's easy for people to use just one piece of software, it would be highly recommended. But if you need multiple pieces of software to achieve what you ultimately go and set out to achieve, then ultimately I'd have to be taking that into consideration. The completeness, whether it is bug-free and does it crash, etc. Obviously, the less bugs there are and the less issues you could say I have with the software, the more higher I would recommend it. The value for a recommended retail price, whether it has a price on the software or not, and obviously the higher the score, the more it's worth its recommended retail price. But if I review a product that is a free version of software, I would give it the highest score possible if I don't talk about the fourth area, which is the ecosystem, about what they have to offer in terms of applications, and also the software and ease of use and all of that. For example, you could download applications through the Google Chrome store and run those in the native web browser on your Mac or PC, or any other computer that Chrome is available on. The next topic I want to talk about is, of course, hardware. There's also 4 areas of assessment, which I will get to in just a minute. I would be talking about the build quality, whether it is well built, if it's sturdy, whether it's got good hardware inside it and all that, and whether it has product damage out of the box or not. For example, the iPhone 5, when that was initially released, a lot of people got their iPhones, they took them out of the box, they took the plastic wrapping off it, and there was a lot of scratches on the back side of the device itself. So a lot of people complained about it, so they had to take it back and exchange it for a separate one, and that obviously costed Apple a lot of money, considering the number of scratched units that they were. It wasn't just a few, there were quite a lot, presumably because they rushed it in terms of getting enough units out in time for the launch. The next area I'd be talking about is inputs. So I'd be talking about the touch screens, keyboard, the cameras, the microphone. You could take the example with the iPhone, for example. If it has, to be honest, an average touchscreen in terms of resolution and that, compared to all these other Android devices that exist at the moment, but it has a camera that is far superior to all the other cameras that's out there, because only time will tell if this happens, it would be getting an average score, because there's no point giving it a really high score just if it has a really good touchscreen, but if it has all different forms of inputs and they're all really good in terms of execution and seamless integration and all of that, then the higher I would rank it in terms of completeness. Same goes for outputs, in terms of the display, speakers, and the connectivity to other devices and the whole ecosystem and all of that. The value for its recommended retail price and whether I recommend getting it at its full recommended retail price or not. So, for example, for the iPhone, if you buy the iPhone 5 16GB outright in Australia, it's $799. I'd be putting that score on whether or not it's worth getting that outright, or whether or not you should wait until it comes down in price and obviously has 8GB in storage or not. This is all prior to when the iPhone 5S came out, so that's just a whole way I think I could go about doing it. And the ecosystem itself, what they have to offer in terms of applications, updating the operating system software, the ease of that, and the ease of the software itself, and the completeness of it all. So the last area I want to talk about for the video is the score system itself. So I will be scoring this out of 8 bits. 2 points for each of the 4 areas assessed, and each mark has increments out of 0.5. So the lowest score a product could ever get is 0.5 out of 8, and the highest they could get is 8 out of 8, all in 0.5 increments. And there's a cap of 2 bits for each assessment criteria for the review system itself. But why bits, you may ask? Well, I thought if I'm going to make a review system, I want to make it unique and completely different from all the other scoring systems that currently exist, as far as I'm aware. For example, the bits are the smallest unit of data a computer can process. 8 bits make up 1 byte. And byte may sound like a familiar term, because 1 kilobyte is made up of 1024 bytes. Then there's 1 megabyte, which is an even larger number. A gigabyte has an even larger number, and a terabyte, I'm not even going to attempt at saying all the numbers. And even internet cables have 8 pins in them, like your standard Ethernet Cat5 cables you might have around your home for wiring through the home and all that. Even in your wireless router from the modem, if they're not bundled together, you can see, if you take one of them out, you'll see the 8 pins like it is on the image on the right there. This is also used in the binary system. For example, in the binary code system, if you have the code 00110101, no, I'm not trying to confuse all you, it equals 53, because if you, just a quick lesson, from right to left, each unit is represented in basically doubling the number, so it goes 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, which is also very familiar as to how they go about selling all these different sizes of, for example, USB flash drives. They sell them in 1 gigabyte, 2 gigabyte, 4 gigabyte, 8, 16, 32, 64. I'm sure they'll get to 128 eventually. Same goes for terabytes eventually. But if you add up all the different values for each of those, 1 represents on and 0 represents off. So if you add up 1, 4, 16, 32, you will get the number 53. This is the most tech-related scoring system that I could possibly think of, and that brings me to this question for you, the audience, is what is your opinion on this scoring system compared to all the others that are out there? So you can let me know by leaving a comment in the section below. And if you enjoyed this and you like this whole concept, please give it a like. And if you choose to, subscribe to my channel. I'm not going to force anyone, and I'm not going to pay anyone to subscribe to my channel. It's all volunteer. I have to earn subscribers, and if I do that and you choose to subscribe, it is greatly appreciated. So until next time, I will catch you later.